Hello everyone, it is the me, Game Penguin 21, and today we are going to be laughing at some people. And yeah, I know, I'm going to be uploading 3 videos this week. Oh my god. Yeah, unfortunately I kind of have to because I had recorded the other video for the PlayStation 5 showcase, and to be quite honest, I'm unsure if I'm going to be releasing that video uh over this week. I might either release it next week or I just might release it Saturday. One of the two. The reason being is because this news just dropped, and this news is now completely breaking every parts of the internet, and I have to just talk about it. Because if I don't, I'm going to regret it, and I don't want to have to wait a week like I normally do, because I will be like, okay, I'm late. And yeah, so obviously 2 big pieces of news decided to come out this week, but they're both kind of tangentially related, so I just decided to stick them into one video. I'm going to try to condense this as much as possible. That is, that the Elder Scrolls 6, in accordance to leaked documents, is going to be skipping the PS5 and will launch on Xbox and PC. And people were not happy about this. Oh my god, were people not happy about this. Of a few of the responses that I actually have here on a few different places, we have, if true, the CMA will be looking at this within regards to the Microsoft acquisition. Now, in that context, I am unsure as to why or how, but they would use this as evidence, because, quite honestly, that deal has nothing really to do at all with anything to do with the CMA. And especially considering that these are just plans. These are not going to be actionable until later down the line. So obviously, that's not going to be usable evidence, because they can just say, oh, we plan on it, but unless Sony decides to not be a dick, we're going to probably pull through with these plans. Someone then responds with a different thing with a time to get a PC or Xbox PlayStation users, laughing crying emoji. With a nah, as much as I love the world of Elder Scrolls, I don't regret dumping Xbox last year at all. Good for you. I mean, do you have a PC? Just turn it into a gaming one. It can be pretty cheap. You say, and then someone else says, this is just a basic cope of good. We don't want any trash games on PlayStation. I just can't read that without thinking in Shepard's voice of like, good, that's one less loose end. Another game of the generation with 30 FPS. Oh boy, that's a cope right there. 6 out of 10 games, Spider-Man 2 better. Oh yeah, looks like someone is just deciding to, I don't know, I can't tell if he's joking, and that's very concerning. Like, that's my biggest thing. It's like, I can't tell if he's joking, and that's very concerning. With a 3 years later of a 7 out of 10 across the board, and they just like, hey, please click, and GameSpot's just doing that. That one's obviously a making fun of one stuff. And then someone here then responds with an okay, and stop hyping it up. I'm not buying an Xbox just to play a game. Buy a PC then. I mean, again, if it's coming out in years, you'll probably be able to get more use out of the PC than that. Someone else responds with a more nuanced take that I kind of agree with, where they say, no, Elder Scrolls 6 on PS5 as expected. But guess what? If the tables were turned, Sony would do the exact same thing. And you fucking know this shit. In fact, everyone would expect them, and there wouldn't even have to be any question about it. That's true. That's very true. That's the weird double standards. It's like whenever Microsoft makes any step in a direction to try and grow their business, it's seen as bad. It's seen as, oh, this is big tech coming in, and this is big people trying to kill stuff. It's like, what the fuck do you think business is? It just sounds like you're, I don't know, trying to cope and seethe over something like this. And I hate using that term, but whatever. Next up, we've got the Red Dragon talking about the Starfield leaks. Again, I'm not going to read this entirely, but I'm going to leave it up on screen for people who want to read this, because reading every single one is going to make this video freaking long. More emails showing that the Starfield is coming to PS5, blah, 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 blah. It also proves that he lied. He claimed he hadn't taken away anything from the PlayStation 5. No, it doesn't. And here's why. See, the reason why is because the PlayStation 5 version wasn't announced, or at least it seems like it wasn't announced. There was a lot of people out there saying that these 2 games were going to be an exclusive, and I think that maybe there was some internal talks, unsure. But at the same time, one of, if not the biggest things here, is that maybe the thing is that the PS5 ones were so bad because while the Xbox version and other stuff like that, they did launch, they still launched in a pretty kind of state. And yeah, I'm not going to admit that I'm not going to say that like, oh well, they were really good and it's blah 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 blah. Like no, they had some very big glitches. Like I am soft locked out of 2 different quests in a game because I can't get through a specific door, and the NPCs that are supposed to be standing there are standing there, but they're not interacting in the way that I need them to for some reason. It's very, very stupid. In any case, to bring up another point where Microsoft makes an acquisition and then Sony buys an acquisition and then Microsoft makes an acquisition, and like it goes to show you the flip-floppiness between everyone. And like it goes to show you just how much that Sony has like a weird stranglehold on everyone, saying that they're there for the gamers, they're there for this, they're there for that. I don't trust Sony. Not that like Sony doesn't make good stuff. They do. Like I'm not dissing Sony in such a way because I think that they're a bad faith company overall. In some contexts, it might seem that way, but let me be clear here. Whenever Sony does do good, I do think that Sony is a good company. They are. Like, they made the PlayStation 2. They made the PlayStation 3. They made the PlayStation 4 and 5. Like, they're making good, solid consoles. It's some of their practices that I have a problem with. And the same goes for Microsoft. Like, I'm on no one's side here. I think that the exclusivity that Microsoft has in some regards is bullshit. But at the same time, I understand that they're trying to compete and they're trying to compete with Sony having exclusives as well. I think that Sony does some things that are worse because, again, they buy up third-party studios as well in order to buy Microsoft out of their position. Like, it's the same argument can be used on both sides because both companies want to succeed. That's how business fucking works. Like, it's ridiculous how many people say, "Oh, well, Microsoft does this, therefore it's bad." They need to build up and get a better They need to build up a reputation and make good games. Why? Like, why does Microsoft have to do that and Sony not? It's like, well, Sony already has all these experiences. Like, okay, but there is other experience out there that Sony has not yet tapped into, that Microsoft will tap into. It's like saying that this plumber is bad because he gets the job done quicker, but it's like he gets the job done quicker because he uses shortcuts and he uses tricks of the trade that are newer, and that basically the other one who has 10 years more experience, he is slower to produce and slower to do it, but still gets the same job done. This sort of thing is about speed. And a lot of people forget in gaming history, Sony pulled this exact fucking maneuver. Like, ridiculously so. Back when Nintendo was fucking the world and over on top of everything, they became slower to produce things and produce meaningful content for their stuff. Like, it's the same thing. Like, Sony pulled out the best cards from Nintendo's playbook and then were younger and more quickly to push out a bunch of updates that people wanted. Microsoft now sees this and is pulling the same maneuver that Sony pulled back in the day. So what the fuck? It's the same thing, just on a different level. Like everyone's like, oh, it's not the exact same thing. Microsoft has the money to burn. It's like, yeah, they do. The same shit, different level. Next up, we have Unleashed with a whole bunch of just limp responses and clickbaity articles. Honestly, I would rather read an actual article from gaming news on like The Verge or GameSpot or something like that, or even IGN if I'm very desperate, all of those would be better than anything on this list. Literally better than anything on this list. Completely asinine, hyperbolic statements. I'm not even going to read them because I don't have time. Next up, we have the after the PlayStation 5 reveal, Phil Spencer said to his team that they have this sort of context, and these are, again, leaked documents from this sort of stuff, where they're like, oh, we have a better product, and then they have better ingredients of a winning plan. Overall, I think that was at the PS5 reveal is the thing. It had, like, better hardware and stuff. Absolutely. And they might have thought that at the time, so yeah, makes some sort of sense. Someone here then says that getting Nintendo would be a career-defining moment and a good move for both companies. In all honesty, kind of. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's a more tricky situation than you would originally think about it. And Phil might have said that as in getting Nintendo to work with Xbox is the thing. Maybe not work under Xbox, but work with Xbox, because I think that'd be more of a feasible idea. But if he's thinking about actually outright purchasing Nintendo, don't. Like, just don't. Like that. It's one of those things that I can't make anything funny for it, because like that would just be very bad. Because if they're giving you this much shit about the ABK merger with that, they will have a field day with you on the Nintendo front. You will have so much more, and you would actually, I think, be paying even more. You'd probably be paying like upwards of $1 billion. And I know that Microsoft has like a cap of like $1 trillion and whatever dollars, but I don't think that investing like over $1 billion into Nintendo is a good move. Again, that's just me spitballing here. I think it's totally like tinfoil hat of like, oh, this might be the thing. It's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck Nintendo's market cap is, so don't come at me in the comments about that. So I'm gonna make that very clear. But yeah, no, I don't think that Nintendo, one, would even want to sell to Microsoft, or two, to something else. And they were also saying the same thing about Valve. No, I really don't think that Valve would do the same thing, or because they trust Microsoft or whatever. Except we got a little bit of a break here with the Opera GX. I just thought that this was funny. I'm unsure if this is like an actual real life thing, or if someone just decided to make this as just a really quick meme thing. I mean, there is the thing that says balls in there, so I would say that's just a fake thing. But I just wanted to put this in here because I think it's funny, and I also like Opera GX. So please sponsor me, please. Yeah. So next up, we got the PlayStation 5 digital leaks, with everyone being silent about this on YouTube, and the Xbox all digital leaks, and YouTubers like it's getting bad. Now, I think that this one requires a little bit more of context here. Now, the all digital edition for both of these is a thing that is going to be existing, I guess. And I guess that they did decide to put the Xbox into there. And let me be clear here, with the MVG one, which is the closer one when we're going to look at first. He says that, like, you'll never be able to convince me that Xbox doesn't care about game preservation. I'm sorry, sir. What? Xbox doesn't care about game preservation. Xbox doesn't care about gaming preservation. Are you aware, right, that Xbox has games that go back 2 to 3 generations on Game Pass, right? You can play Xbox 360 games on modern gaming hardware at a better frame rate and a better looking fidelity type stuff. You are aware about this, correct? You can't even play PlayStation, some PlayStation 4 games on like PlayStation 5 or even PlayStation 3 games. You have to buy it through them. And Nintendo is worse, because you then have to pay them a subscription service in order to buy out some of the older games to play on their system. Like, and even just that digitally, too. They hate emulation. What the fuck? No way. Jesus Christ. Next up, we have someone who says the FTC intern who leaked everything about the Microsoft is a hero. Thank you for showing the world Microsoft's evil plan for fucking up the industry we love. I don't think that that's the case. I think that they were leaked because court documents were oftentimes made public. So, I mean, it would be very easy to leak them. If these weren't meant to come out during the trial, they probably would be kept under wraps. Unsure. But for the most part, at least in the U.S., most of these sorts of documents would become public very soon after the actual proceedings. And some of the proceedings are actually made public initially. Like, there's a lot of things with court documents and stuff. And we got Hyped coming in here with Phil Spencer's the worst thing to happen to the gaming industry. His strategy of saving the dying Xbox platform to take the most successful video game companies like Valve and Nintendo down with him. Fucking what? Like, I don't understand this point. Saying that the Xbox platform is dying. No. Not really. From what I can tell, no. Like, the Xbox platform also includes things like Windows PCs and stuff like that. And they're making these big deals that are having some epic returns on investments. So no, Xbox brand isn't necessarily dying. It might not be as strong as some of the other brands, at least internationally, but it's still a strong brand. Jesus Christ. Next up, we've got, of course, Reforged Gaming saying, first two paragraphs, you think these acquired studios are safe. Games need to hit a regular basis to feed Game Pass for the studios to, quote, prove their worth. Many of us have tried to warn you about pitfalls of big acquisitions in order to feed Game Pass. And then goes on to highlight this sort of stuff, which I'm going to be honest, I don't care. Look, here's the biggest thing here. Sure, feeding Game Pass and having a bunch of these different subscription services sucks. And it does. Like, it really does. Like, it's basically a form of rent now. Like, you just have to rent the video games. And I can agree, after seeing, like, a rent video, I understand why people are upset with this. And you know what? I'm a little upset with it, too. Absolutely. But people still forget, you can just straight up buy the games from Game Pass as well, right? And keep them forever. Like, having the option to rent your video games is not a bad thing. Like, it really honestly isn't. To, quote, feed the Game Pass so people can have it is, yeah, a big deal because it's become part of their business model. There's a reason why, in one of the previous things that I said, there's 25 million people in Game Pass right now as we speak. Like, Jesus Christ. Next up, we've got IGN completely given up on pretending not to favor PlayStation and Xbox these days, and just lists off a bunch of PlayStation stuff. Which I think some of those articles are like talking about Sony and Xbox and stuff like that. It's like, here's how Insomniac is pushing the PS5 to the max with Spider-Man 2. I think that's the most egregious one out of everything here. So, oh no. So, yeah. Interesting thing there. Someone here is saying someone here called Baldur's Gate 3 is gaudy. Interesting notion. Basically, screenshots Colt Eastwood here, saying that the Elder Scrolls 6 will be exclusive. It says, after the disappointment of Starfield, I don't think PlayStation fans will care. In fact, if anyone brings up Bethesda as a flex, don't be surprised if everyone laughs at them. I mean, there's other reasons to laugh at Colt Eastwood, so I'm not dissing you for that. I'm more dissing you for the fact that if you felt the need to make a tweet like that, you do care. That's my biggest thing, and that's the reason why I've tried to stop saying I don't care. The thing is that you care enough about the topic to bring it up in conversation. Saying I don't care about this topic, it's like, oh, that means that you... Like, I hate this argument that people use, saying I don't care. It's like, okay, then stop bringing it up. Stop talking about it. And my dad tried to justify this, at least to me, by saying, like, I was tailoring it to the person that I'm talking to. And I get that. Like, I get tailoring it to the person that you're talking to. But you still felt the need to bring it up. Like, that's my biggest problem is that if you didn't care about it, you're not constantly thinking about it like someone like me constantly thinking about my YouTube channel and my growth. If you're not constantly thinking about it, yet you still feel the need to bring up the topic to people that you are talking about consistently. Like, it's a consistency thing. If you bring it up once or twice in casual conversation, absolutely. Like, you don't care too much about the topic, but you care enough, again, to bring up the topic. Like, it's I might be just a whataboutism, and I might be just losing my mind a little bit because of the PlayStation fanboy people, but whatever. Someone then goes to show the bunch of these 2024 releases of this, saying that 2023 is supposed to be Xbox's year. I don't think anyone ever really said that. Maybe some people did at the beginning of the year, and maybe I did as well, but I actually don't think that I did, because, again, I don't bat for Xbox. But if I did, I eat those words 100%. I don't stand by them anymore. But then he goes on to list a whole bunch of supposed 2024 releases, including things like Silent Hill 2, which I don't even know if that has a release date. Death Stranding 2, which also I don't think has a release date. Marvel's Wolverine, which also doesn't seem to have a release date as well. And a lot of these games I actually haven't heard of. He also doesn't bring up Foam Stars, which I think is supposed to release next year, which I'm actually excited for that. Well, wait, is it supposed to be released next year or this year? I don't know the specific thing of that. But Foam Stars I'm actually excited for, personally. Oddly enough, I don't know why. Don't at me. I don't know why. It just looks like a really cool, fun game. Like, it just looks like stupid fun. I'm playing through other games, including now I bought Call of Duty Ghosts. Yes, I bought Call of Duty Ghosts. String me up and call me an idiot. Absolutely. I like that game. It was a good game. I don't know what else to tell you about. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. Then we have another thing where Starfield was supposed to come out on all platforms already, and there wasn't any exclusivity for PS5. It was already determined internally to be a multiplat, which in that sense was that way. But at the same time, that we're only seeing one side here. Like, Microsoft is being pulled through the mud about this. I would like to see some leak emails from Sony. Like, were they actually in talks? Or did they just, like, purge everything and delete it? Everyone was so quick to say that, oh, there was the possibility that Sony was in talks with it, right? To make Starfield an exclusive, right? If that's not true, then what the fuck? Like, if that comes out to actually actively have been a lie, right? I will eat those words, like, in saying that there was internal talks from Sony about that. I highly fucking doubt that. Unsure, so maybe there wasn't any internal stuff like that. But we're only seeing Xbox's side here, really. And these were all apparently supposed to be like this. Like, it's dumb. But one of the other titles here that they are listed off is 2021 titles being Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, both of which were like it's so dumb. What the fuck am I looking at here? And there's also like a multi-platform rhythm game. I don't get this. Like, I don't get what people are doing this. So then this one's just a straight up saltiness of Sony been whooping Microsoft's ass in the gaming shit so bad the only thing Phil Spencer can think of is to buy the entire gaming industry foul. And again, he only says that, and again, maybe he was speaking in a hyperbolic statement, but this is back to that thing. And this was one that I wanted to talk about really quickly to just kind of end off this video. Yeah, we'll end it here with this one by Mischief retweeting someone saying that Gabe has nothing but praise for Microsoft publicly and has stated that it's better than PlayStation. Valve making the Steam Deck is almost a part of the warming up to Microsoft increasing their value for the buyout. It's not impossible that he would sell. Fuck you. I'm out of clever for that statement. No, literally, like, ghost ship, fuck off. Like, I have no other way to say that in any meaningful capacity. I'm done being nice in this context. No, I don't think that Microsoft, I don't think that Valve or Gabe would ever let Microsoft buy Valve. One, Valve is not in the place that they would be needing a buyout. They wouldn't be needing, wanting, or desiring it because, number one, the biggest reason why is because if you look at Valve's structure, there is very little in the terms of actual bosses in the way that they create games. Like, they have a gaming division and they have stuff like that, but most people just work on whatever the heck that they want. And if Microsoft, has a hands-off mentality and just lets Valve do their thing, sure, absolutely. But why would they sell to Microsoft when they own, like, the biggest portion of the PC gaming market? Maybe that's not saying a huge amount, but who the hell here doesn't use Steam for, like, every one of their games? Or at least has a Steam account? Like, there's a lot of people out there. If Microsoft were even to attempt to get that, they would get shot down immediately. Because not only that, Microsoft already owns all the systems that these games are being played on. Like, they own the Microsoft operating system. Like, it's stupid to assume that it would be like, it's not impossible for them to sell. Yeah, it kind of would be because Valve would never, I cannot conceivably think of a rational way that Valve would ever want to be bought out by any of these big companies. The biggest reason for this is because Gabe used to work at Microsoft. A lot of people kind of don't understand, or at least seem to forget this at times, but if I remember correctly, Gabe used to work at Microsoft. And Microsoft basically and essentially, he left it for some reason because he said that, like, Microsoft was just trying to consolidate and being a bad faith actor. So maybe he's come around in his older years to be like, oh, they're not doing that bad. But at least he trusts Microsoft in some ways. I trust Microsoft too, at least kind of. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but overall, that's the stupidest point of this entire video, that Valve would even consider it to do that. If they do, and it does actually eventually happen, 100%, I stand wildly corrected, and the egg is on my face. Sure, absolutely, but I don't think so. If it does, cool. Anyway, sorry for all the rambling and all the raving and all that stuff like that. I was told that it was apparently entertaining for people, but whatever. In any case, what else do I have to say on this matter? Not much, just the fact that everyone here is just being kind of a dumbass. And we just get to laugh at them, so hooray. But yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming to apparently be a Xbox exclusive, Xbox PC exclusive. Good. I mean, what the fuck has Sony done for Microsoft at all? Fucking nothing. Alongside of a few other things, so yeah, absolutely. Expected Valve would never sell, Nintendo will probably never sell, and I think that Phil Spencer, honestly, in that context, with those emails, talking out of his ass. Like, no one's a good person in this context. He doesn't look good. Like, he doesn't look good. The gaming industry doesn't look good. Blah, 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 blah. Overall, whatever. Anyway, if you like what it is that I do and want to support me in any other ways, not necessary because your viewership is enough, but if you do, down in the description I have my Patreon, I have my Gumroad, and I have the Bandcamp, every place that you can buy and purchase and stuff my music. Next single is coming out soon. I also do have some Halloween tracks that I had been saving for specifically October, so look out for those when those drop on my Bandcamp. I do streaming mostly on the weekends. Be sure to keep an eye on the community tab as well as the eye on the Twitter. I try to post there as well as often as I can. In any case, I want to thank you all so much for this whatever the fuck nonsense is happening right now, and a peace off.